was good there for a moment, right? Why did I make so many layers? Holy cow. Let's see with that. Okay. Hello, everybody. Let's get the groove back. Let's add some more groove to this. Let's go. Now, for something like this, I would probably go over here to the drum groove. Oh, it's a whole bunch of parts. I'd set these all to halftime. 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 Maybe we'll keep something in double time, but... I don't, you know, so anyway, hello, let me turn on the camera. Hi, welcome. How are you doing? This is John Limcool. This is my Plugin Guru live stream I do every week. Nice to see all of you. Thank you for joining. Real quickly, we'll do a little plug here. I'm not always the best at plugging my own stuff, but I am going to do that today. This video is sponsored. All this is done just because I love my customers. I have a website called pluginguru.com where I make patches for software-based plugins and sell them. There's like over 90 plugins. It's like there's so many products that I sell now that it won't fit on this product pull-down screen. It goes way off the screen. So actually, if anybody knows web design and you know how to like make menus and stuff, I would love to talk to you about hiring you to help me with stuff like that. I am just not good at that. And I really want this website to be a little bit more efficient. I'm talking with the web designer, Pete, my dear friend Pete, that I wouldn't be here without him. He lives in Australia, about version 4 of the website we want to redo maybe next year. But I would love, there's got to be some sort of utility or something that would, so John at pluginguru.com, email me, let me know. Random plugin at the moment would be Falcon 3. Yes, everybody's talking about Falcon 3 and all that kind of stuff. This is... My face camera is not on. Let's see here. OBS. I know my face camera was not on purpose. It is now. I see myself. So hopefully you see me as well. Welcome. So we do all sorts of fun things. Here we cover like new plugins. We go over the new libraries that have been released. We answer questions that you guys might pop up as we are going along in the live stream. It's very casual. It's just a community hang. There's a lot of you guys that have been doing this for years with me. And I just do this for customer support. I'm really big on customer support. I believe in being available to you guys. You guys inspire me, which inspires me to make things, which I give back to you guys, and it inspires you. So it's a nice mutual harmonic relationship. And so thank you to all of you for joining and being a part of this community. I put a note. Hello, Ivar. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, I know you want to see the keyboard. I'm not going to show the keyboard all the time because our show MIDI software is kind of buggy right now, so I can't call it up to play. It breaks, and I need to be accessing my knobs. Knobs are more important to me than my keyboard, so I'm sorry. I will when I can at times and stuff, but for the most part, let's see. If I go to Logic, let's see if it still does this. It was triggering notes when I would call up an instrument. Let's go over here and say we get it. Blank instrument, software instrument. And we go, let's say we just want to have, let's just have a really simple, basic mono synth or something like that that's turned off. We go to MIDI effects. Let's see if this works. If it works, I'll keep it, but let's see. Let's see if I can get it to work. Okay, so here is our show MIDI. It triggers notes, but I've turned the plugin off so you can't hear it. So if it's triggering a synth, we don't hear it. So, okay, that might be working. So there you go. Okay, so there's your keyboard. I hope Danielle is happy. So this is, I've released this week an update to the Signs of Life. This is a library I created for Unify. It was originally created 5 years ago. And then this for Omnisphere 2. And we could init, we could call up Omnisphere 2. I have it in both VST and VST2. Good. So this library shows up inside of all the, there's 40 libraries I've created for Omnisphere. Anywhere from drum grooves, which is almost like a no-no, but we figured out how to do it, to cinematic percussion, to all sorts of toxic things and pop things and chill things and all that stuff. But Signs of Life is a library that I did for Omnisphere 2 from going on a trip to Costa Rica with my daughter in 2017, I believe. And if you get down to the bottom of this list, there's all of these Z patches, I believe I called them, right? Yeah, the environmentals of, make sure that, right? There's all these really great environmental sounds. Jets, Everyday Life in La Fortuna. Well, in the Unify version, I've been able to do things where now when you go to Everyday Life, let's see, go environmentals, La Fortuna, Everyday Life. When you call this up, you have basically the same sample, but you also have a photo of kind of an area close to where I was making this audio file. And so I have been able to incorporate, because Unify, my own plugin, can host all of your own plugins, let you play with them and make them into super plugins. But I can also embed images into them. So when I go to Cahuita, to the rain, birds, and monkeys, these howler monkeys woke us up every morning at 5 in the place that we stayed, and they looked like this. So you can see I took this picture of them while they were howling away. Not only that, but the Unify version also has high quality, which is the original 192 kilohertz audio files. You play like at the bottom of the keyboard. The Omnisphere 2 library and these original samples, excuse me, are at 48 kilohertz. The 192 kilohertz, compare this to this. just smoother, more open. You feel the air, even though it's playing down like 2 or 3 octaves below original. And the reason you want the higher quality is because when you go in to start adding distortion, if you go into even bigger things, like if you say infiltrator, and you get some of this kind of weird stuff, the higher quality audio makes these types of sounds sound better because it's better audio source going in. Remember the garbage in, garbage out? Low res audio compared to high res audio is going to give your synth engines and your distortions and mangling things power to do cool things. Now, how perceptible that would be, it's something, maybe it's on a more minuscule level, but it does make a difference. And so I wanted to give you both. And so they're in here. On top of that, there's drum grooves in this library. Both the drums from guitar, which is in the MegaMagic Guitars Volume 3. That is the DFG grooves. Like if you go to 4, sneak out. I made a drum kit that I included 5 years ago with Signs of Life. That sounds like this. And this is groove 4, which means it's made to match with the drums from guitar groove number 4. So the two together complement each other. And I actually put those all together up here as combos. So if you call these up, they're not traditional drums. There's timpanis and weird sounds and so forth used for the kits. Oh, I'm just adding more. Hold on a second. Go like here. And they're MIDI file based, which means you can go over here and you can speed them up. And there's macro knobs, so you can go over here and manipulate them in all sorts of really cool ways, even the timing. MIDI velocity, so if you want for different sections in a song, all these things can be automated. In fact, all of these grooves, all 25 grooves are over here on a knob. So you can go like this in your sequencer and record that as the groove that's now in your song. So you can make custom grooves that nobody else has because it's manipulating how many MIDI files? 25 MIDI files are in here. And as I move this macro knob, it's cycling through all that list. And I have videos on my channel showing you guys how to make a stack, which is a MIDI file type 0, where it can have all of these grooves that are all separate grooves that are able to be switched between. It's really, really powerful. So that's in here. Well, this last week, actually the last 3 weeks, I've been working on a little thing called the Signs of Radioactive Life. This is the patches. I did this for the Arturia version. These are different patches. Some of them have similar names. Some have different names, but it's more aggressive. You know, the other half of the library with the environmentals is up here. You have these really cool pads where I took the nature sounds and combined them with pads and synth things to make really cool sounds. Combining rain with pads. Right? Some of these, like the spotlights and so forth, get really insane for the frequencies that they're creating. I use my modular synth to do some of these. Really cool for transitions and for opening up things and starting songs. Really, really fun stuff. Well, Signs of Radioactive Life is kind of taking things a little bit in a different direction. So these are really, really cool. Using these samples Using the environmental sound effects. Right? So all that kind of cool stuff. Subatomic. Just sits there with this really cool menacing power. So stuff like that. There's BPM basses for the Plan to Escape BPM bass is actually using a drum groove. It's the same groove that I opened with the pads and stuff for the. But now it's just the drum part with the bass, because those timpani sounds, I tuned them. So you could go to another library like Zebra. You go down here to these epic basses and stuff that are in this library. Changes to Unify layer and add some Berlin bombs. Get our mix right. And let's see, we could go over here, call it Zebra, go to the performance page. Get that to be dark. Let's tell this Zebra to play only to B. And then let's go over here. There's a flute patch that I really love. This alternator flute. Let's load that into a new layer. And let's say only from C up. Ready? Isn't that cool? I mean, the things you can do in real time with Unify is so powerful. I could right click all these guys and say stop at B. And now I have I mean, the places you can go. Are just really, really fun, really inspiring. So that's part of the science. Where was I at? Signs of Radioactive Life. Yeah, so you can play with all these things. The bass thing is, the BPM bass thing is there, and it's open, so you can layer it with any of your other plugins and stuff. So it's really, really fun for playing, just taking off on tangents like that, and you know, all of a sudden hours have just disappeared. Let's see here. Let's go. Normal. Painful Decay is a texture that there's some really cool keyboards combining the pianos inside of Unify. With the environmental sounds and pads. Moving the mod wheel. We'll remove one of the pads and take the other pad up an octave. Wait. So you can use the mod wheel to, all of a sudden your dance tune takes off, right? Force piano in the rain. Again, it's a piano from Unify's sample database. Unify has over 3 gigabytes of samples in it, right? But it sounds like you've never heard a piano quite like this before, because I've used a special, the shift parameter lets you shift the samples of anything in Unify that's got multi-samples across the keyboard. So we could go to MegaMagic harp. We could call up the harp, say like maybe the, let's see, where's regular harp? MegaMagic harp dry. Let's play it normal first. Take it up. But if you shift, now you get like mandolin-esque kind of. This is a trick that we did. I originally learned of this trick when working on the Korg M1 in the early 90s. Because the Korg M1 had a fine tune that was plus or minus an octave, plus or minus 1200 semitones. So you could transpose this down 8 semitones and you would fine tune up plus 800 semitones. We only go to 100 with our fine tune. But by doing that, you're offsetting the sample map so that the sample map is now transposed to where you're playing samples that are supposed to be playing up the keyboard. But now you've used the fine tune to offset it so it's stretched to play the samples in the original pitch it was supposed to be. And I showed Shane how to do that, and we put that into. So when you put this to plus, it's playing lower samples transposed up in fine-tuned synths. So it's playing low samples 2 octaves up the keyboard. That's why it sounds like that. And when you take it to minus shift, this is taking high note samples and transposing those down up to 2 octaves. We did twice the range that we had on the M1, but and if you want to really have fun, you could take this, go over here. Let's turn off solo for a second. Embed this into a new Unify layer. Go over here, and I have to do it in kind of a funny way, but right here is CC Writer. And then inside of this Unify layer, go to the knobs, right click, and choose one of these knobs to be set to the, where is it at? Here it is, oscillator 1 shift. And now it's not doing anything unless I move the knob. If I want to connect it to this CC writer, it's currently sending out on CC20. So I'm going to keep it on CC20 and then just go to this knob and say, dude, you are now watching TV channel 20. And now each time you play, it's now playing different samples that are being shifted in real time. So there's all sorts of fun things like this that are inside of Unify. I'm going to be blowing your minds today. I'm just warning you. I'm in the mood to blow some minds. So when we get to random, you guys are going to really have fun. So really cool keys. Really nice electric piano on pad. And there's even a chorus you can turn on for the electric piano. Right? So There's some leads. There's some more pads that are really cool. This Desolation Reacting is really cool. This is using a CC writer on a patch that has a square wave doing octaves, but changing the LFO speed. So as you play this, isn't that cool? And you can change the mix of reverb and the volume of it. You want it to be louder. Or vary it into the effects and turn it down to be more of a texture element. Right? So all sorts of fun stuff like that. So there's 30 patches that are included now in the library. And on the website, if you log in, you'll see that there is a zip updater for those of you that have already installed Signs of Life originally for Unify. Just run the installer and it will update. I added some additional images. I also went through all of these and rerouted them so that when it says like the General Rain, I think General Rain 2. Where was it? Some of these rain ones, I actually put it to show pictures. Those are the birds. The General Rain and Thunder. Where are they? Oh, here we go. No, the Rain and Monkeys was that. Somewhere here, I have some pictures with the recorder. Was the Insane Rain? Yeah. And Insane Rain and Thunder. It was raining so hard. And here's this little field recorder, this little Tascam DR100 Mark III. This is what I used. This is the exact same unit I used. And it just set it everywhere and recorded when there was time when I was in different places in Costa Rica. And thunderstorms go over the top of you and rain and oh, just awesome. So this is a library just celebrating beautiful sounds, even cows getting, this is a cow that needed milked badly. Oh wait, this one right here. She was not happy. And this is a funny story. So, yeah, she was really unhappy. So, I don't know if you know this, but in Costa Rica, when you buy property there, you own whatever is on that property. And if it just so happens that you buy property and it has this waterfall on it, then you own that waterfall. So this family, the property that has that cow that was at the top of this hill, and you pay like $5, $10 or something like that for entrance to their property to walk down this trail to see Eco Contales, this incredible waterfall. Here's a near photo of it. It's beautiful. And I could show you. Let's see if I go Lightroom really quick. Let's do this really quick. Where are you at? If I go Costa Rica. The best fried chicken I have ever eaten in my entire life was at this waterfall that the family prepared for us. And I took a picture of it, and it was better than, as a kid, I remember, you know, KFC was really good. I love KFC. This smoked that. I mean, it was like unbelievable. Check this out. This was just like the best lunch chicken I have ever had in my life. And it was served at this little tiny table right next to the waterfall. I mean, it was like unbelievable. And other photos of the waterfall. My daughter, she went up and actually, I think it's a little bit before this. Let's see, bug bites, all sorts of stuff. Let me find it. She did some really cool poses. Like, let's see, this is really cool. in front of the waterfall just for scale so you could see how big it was. Just incredible. This is my lovely daughter, Hannah. She actually turned 23 just a little while ago. So happy birthday, Hannah. But look at the scale of her. I mean, just awesome. So incredible experience. I got to take her and we go all over Costa Rica, and this library came as a result of it. So it's a special library to me, and I'm really happy to share it with all of you. That's a long way for chicken dinner. Yeah, but let me tell you, man, I would hop on an airplane, go through the hours of flight to go back and have that lunch again. It was so good. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It was very, very special. So anyway, this is a really cool library. There's all sorts of really cool pads that have all sorts of really cool elements to them. And the environmental sounds, now the radioactive signs of life. There's all these bonus patches at the end as well. So you have all these like... And any of these, again, you can go to just adding Unify layer and add. You know, add them together to do all sorts of really fun things. Waterfall drone for a texture. This is actually using channel matrix. It's doing an octave up and down, actually just octave ups. Pan left and right. Little bit difference in this one thing in the wave station we learned, and we did a lot of where making pads and then putting them about 250 and 500 or somewhere around there for the left and right for a nice stereo imaging. But check this out. Without chow matrix, it's just noise. Turn on chow matrix. And it has this like Shangri-La effect. Even though there's no pitch in it, take something like this, and you go to the pads. Vocalizing in the rain, let's add this and then turn it down a little bit. Maybe up an octave. And let's feed it into that too. And again, I showed you guys last week on the keyboard page, there's a transpose. So I can use that because I have multiple layers. I want to transpose the whole thing down. You know, so fun stuff. Really cool library. So, well, this is a feature that's been inside of Unify since the beginning. I just haven't shown you guys. It's been there. So nothing new there per se. Anyway, so cool library. So if you want this library, it's available at the website. Also, make sure you check out Bob did his the Sounds of the 80s is an incredible library. Fred Nungot, he might be here. He did the Sands of Arrakis, which is for Dune 3, which is a super cool library. Tim Dale, who's not sure he wants to go to Costa Rica for chicken, he did the Pigments library that we released just recently called SabrePigs. Super cool, inspiring library. Click these banners and it will take you to the page. And then Signs of Life SE is right here. Now it includes the radioactive patches. All these libraries are on their introductory prices until November 1st. So please pick those up if you would like some inspiring new patches and so forth. In other news, let's take a look at some other stuff we've done. It's been a busy week. A gentleman named Craig, I don't remember his last name. I probably shouldn't share it publicly, but one of you wonderful customers sent an email saying, hey, I'm thinking of unifying the OBX patches from GeForce. What do I do? And I took him through the steps, and he had automation to software. If you go to our forums at forums.pluginguru.com, there are discussions on the automation tools. It's especially easy on the PC to do automation of the saving of patches. And so he put everything into place. I gave him a map, and we now have all 407 of the OBX patches. Now, something like this, of course, is really cool if you go Unify layer and add something that's not got the pitch EG, then turn the pitch EG just a little bit so it's not quite so strong. And now you have a really cool good old days is doing a wobbly thing. Open the Unify layer. So all 407 patches are unified. I think I put a link in the video description already. So while you're hitting the like button and you're hitting the subscribe button, if you haven't, also you can get to the video description and there's links to the libraries. There's links to these unified free libraries. If you own GeForce OBX, you need to have it known to Unify so that when you go down the list to the OBX right here. I have both the VST and the VST3 inside right now, but you only need the VST2 for this particular library to operate. And then you can load all these patches and you won't get an error message and play them. Right? So all the basses, all the pads, all the leads. And again, the joy of Unify is set to Unify layer. Let's click 6. We got a 6 lead OBX. Hold down Option because you've got so many layers and turn down the volumes of everybody so you're not distorting. Pan them. If you want to really have fun, go over here and say add an empty layer of MIDI effects. And let's do this. Let's have it so that as the notes come in, we go to a creative thing called Polybox. And Polybox, and let's say we got 6 leads, so we need to set this to 6 layers. What this does is each time it gets a note, it goes to the next MIDI channel. So I go to each one of these, I say MIDI channel 1, channel 2. There's faster ways to do this. I'm doing this the very slow manual way so you can see that there's nothing up my sleeve. I'm not like pulling out snake oil and pouring it on an apple and it turns into a cherry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go to the in and change this to MIDI in effect. And let's do this. Call up here and go layer switcher. And by naming it that, now when I click where it says in, I now see layer switcher. So if you had multiple MIDI effects, and the cool thing with this is this allows one MIDI effect to control lots of synthesizers. That's something that's like a nightmare to do in any DAW. And now I have 6 different layers of 6 different leads, and each time I play a note, so if you want to make like cool introductions to a song or a cool rhythmic thing, Like this one seems to ring out too long. Second page, I have the amp release. And if you want, you can make it polyphonic too. So if you go to chords, now you can play chords with mono synths. Let's see if I say a 6-pull chord. Isn't that how I do it? I can't remember what I did. Oh, voices per channel. Here we go. Pool size, chord, mono EP, but I could say up to 16 voices per channel. So now, by doing this, I now have allocated enough voices that I can play chords, and each note will be one of the different layers. So I want them to all be the same range. Let's have that one go down 12. And this needs to go down 12. There. So I'm playing polyphonic synth parts with 6 monophonic synths patches from OBX. We originally did this so that you could turn any monophonic synth into a polyphonic synth. But we've always said that each layer can be its own sound. So this is just kind of an extreme example of that, where each layer is a different patch, but I can... You know, so you don't have to have it just be one synth with one sound. Unify lets you take things so far outside of the box of anything else that it's really fun. So there you go. So this has been Unified. There's another thing to show you that I'm really happy to get to show you and spend some time showing you. It's a synth I discovered from a little post that I saw. DX7 Amon X. Oh yeah, that was cool. Map the Unify layer to NKS2. You know, we did some NKS stuff in the past. The problem with NKS is you then need to use native control, and that is really slow, cumbersome software. It reloads everything every time. It's not a fun experience from my time working with it. So if you want to try to do NKS, I actually hired someone like 3-4 years ago in 2020. We had someone do the first version of the libraries in NKS, and it was nice. It would show up on the keyboard with the graphics and stuff, but I really am not that, it's not flexible and fast enough, you know? Are the OBX patches available on the Plugin Guru website? They will be. I haven't put them up on the product page yet. I just did this stuff last night. I went to bed at like 3:45 last night, so I haven't had a time to do that. But it will be here on the Plugin Guru page later today. I will get it up. You go to Unify, scroll down the list, you'll get to these. GeForce, you'll find the OBX, and you'll find Beat Surfing random. After the live stream, I will take the time to put them up, which is what I get to show you now. This is a crazy plugin, and it's not going to be one for all of you guys for sure. vst.beatsurfing. This is a company, I've never heard of them before, called vst.beatsurfing. They have a really interesting snare creation plugin for making all sorts of crazy snares. They have Lunch Table, where somebody sampled so many different ways of tapping with a pencil or pen and sampling it to make all sorts of really cool sounds. Those are cool. But they just introduced a new plugin called Random. And it's using a form of artificial intelligence, and it's doing some neural networking to do some cool things. They have a cool video demo showing things of what it's doing, which I have no interest in looking at. But you can go down here to talk about it. There's actually, if you go to their blog at BeatSurfing, this guy's lost and pushes the sounds, and it takes them all sorts of really cool places. Ooh, so cool. I think they're French, but if you go to the blog, they have the stuff on Random. They even have like a live show, but it's all in French, so I could not understand it, unfortunately. But on this page, they talk about the creation, how it was made. They met this guy named Theia 7 years ago that was working on this, and he's got a complex, I'm not sure what tool he was using to build this in. And then they've taken the concept and harnessed it and turned it into this plugin. It's monophonic. Let me just call it up. This is Random, and it's limited controls. I wish I had more controls. Maybe they'll do more into that stuff in the future, but it makes weird sounds. Is changing all of these parameters. It's changing between all these different, there's different algorithms you can call up that will really fun and sounds just so cool. If you click the little random here, it will randomly set all the parameters. You can even bring up instability so that each time you play a note, it will randomize for you with each note. Listen to that. It's just really cool. I love synthesizers can do lots of different things. There's those that can be based on sawtooths and so forth that have a kind of predictable sound you're going to get. This is kind of the opposite of that. You don't know exactly what you're going to get. It's multiple delay lines that are being manipulated with things in between the delay lines that are causing distortion. Now, this XY pad, I couldn't get it to be recorded inside of Logic, which is interesting because I thought it would be able to, but I couldn't get it to be recorded. So I decided to unify the library because all of those knobs show up inside of the plugins itself for the matter X, matter Y, all of these things if I call up Random. I wish I would have come with a little bit different name for it, but as I move these, it does all this stuff. And so they have made patches, it's not really going to be like what you expect for a bass. But then move the knobs and it's like, oh my God. So if you want to get your kind of outside into the really cool future sounds and all that kind of stuff, again, if you're doing mute love songs, this is not the plugin for you, my friend. It's not for you. At the end of the Unified library, some of the stuff you see here is not in the Unified library because I made this at the 4 a.m. time and I was way too tired to put it in the library. I will be updating this library after the live stream. I'll just go to the fun one. Check this out. This is BPM drum. This is combining, and we'll build one of these. Maybe I think there's time that we can build one. I want to kind of show you what this can do, but this is 3 randoms, a drum groove, and a bass patch from Unify all together. So that cool? So this is 3 random playing. Cool, huh? Here's the snare, and you can go in here. And I'm feeding it in through reverb and stuff like that. So it's very fun. Right? So I made a couple other things with almost a normal bass. Again, these are not inside of the Unified library. I'll be adding them. There's an 8th note. And this is where it gets into the kind of the fun stuff because I'm using a CC writer that's doing this shape and it's modulating some of the macro knobs that have different curve shapes, changing parameters inside of the hi-hat patch, right? So the things you can do with that kind of stuff is where it gets really, really funny. Their kick drums weren't very good, so I made my own kick drum. Anyway, for $39, it's a really eye-opening, cool plugin. So it's vst.beatsurfing.com. And there you can get into random if you want something like this. What do you guys think? Is this kind of cool? Yeah. I hope I don't get nightmares later. You might. It does. When you get into these super matter patches, so if you need sounds that doink and go weird places, and it's not just a resonant filter on a sawtooth waveform, this is a fun place to play. So Yes, it can do that. So let's do this. Let's make something. Let's make a groove. Let's start with one of their 808s. You just have to see some things in action. It's like, well, what can you do? You know, okay, it's distortion. It's more than that. It's other. It's that category of other that is really intriguing to me. Especially because the neural networks and AI is used for going between all the different possible algorithms smoothly. You know, so you got all this place to play, and it's doing. And there's something I'm going to kind of teach you guys about that's kind of fun. So we're going to use a whole bunch of MIDI boxes. And we're going to go to the standard library. And inside of the standard library, there are all these different folders of MIDI files. And it's a weird concept, but any of the MIDI files can be used to play melodic sounds. Because you can, even if it's like a drum map, you could go to the hi-hat and like filter it down to where it's just a hi-hat note, and then map it and then transpose the parameters in MIDI boxes. I'll show you in a minute to get it to play melodies and so forth in kind of interesting ways. There's a couple filters, the folders, the drums single part. This is a really important folder because these are drums that are not in grooves. So it's just different grooves that, and then my suggestion is to always call up an empty layer. And you can transpose the root. If you're using note course, you can use offset. These two parameters are used to shift the MIDI file. But let me show you something different. Instead, so I got the pitch that I want. I'm going to hit mute so I don't hear this. Instead of a single groove, let me show you something kind of interesting. What if you use one of these more complex, like a drum groove from Super Macho Drums? This is where it's got the hi-hats, it's got the shakers, it's got tambourines, it's got snares, it's got kicks, it's got everything going on. Let's go to Take an Oath. And then bring down this. This is your range of what it's going to allow to be played. And you can include the notes or exclude the notes. We're going to say just only include notes that are from C-2. There. And if I move this up, A, O, G sharp for the hi-hat. And then set this to play only so it's not transposing. And where did it go? Say play. I'm gonna get my. Okay, I wanted to key transpose, but I don't want it to do that. Let me figure this out. I have to figure out my own tools sometimes because it's confusing, especially when I'm using it on a bass sound. But you can use this to filter it out to be just a specific note, like G sharp. Right? So I'm playing just G sharp. Now I want that to transpose. How I was doing this. Oh, I'm not going to get it to work the way I want it to work. Okay, well, let's see. R&B groove is the key range. You can limit it to be one note and then transpose it up and down the keyboard. I'm not getting it to do that. Play only. Now it plays that. But I wanted to transpose it. Huh. Okay, well, never mind. I don't want to take a whole lot of time trying to trouble, but you can get it to work. It's just trial and error. But if you go back to, let's go back to the folder with the single parts. Single part, kick drum. I just want to do a kick, get the full range playing. I think because it had lots of notes, it got, but set to key transpose. And then see, I need to find out, like, sometimes I'll do things where I also add like another groove element that's normal. Like a hi-hat, 8th notes. Let's do this, like 8th note hi-hats. This helps me like know where the tempo is, right? I'm still in key, right? So now I can say, okay, don't want that. Now instead of hi-hats, let's go here and say random. And let's get another MIDI file going. I should have actually done it the other way around. Let's do this. Go note, and then 8th notes. Let's add instrument layer 1. And then I'm going to copy this MIDI file. Or actually, I could just do this. Since I've added it this way, I can now go random. And you might go, now, Skippy, that doesn't sound like a hi-hat, right? Well, we got to do something to it. And you actually see it's right here already. We just go to high pass filter. Now it's a hi-hat. Filter everything below a certain frequency out. Now you got this really cool transition thing to use in your track. Let's take this down another octave. And I want the bass sound to vary some, right? So it's just sitting here doing this. So if I go over here, I'm going to say, embed this in a Unify layer so that I can put our modulation tool, which is the CC, right? I have to get it that way. It normally shows up in your MIDI effect list. Now I could go to this Unify layer. I can choose an effect or a parameter from inside of random. Like say I want the X control, right? I want to play with that. So all I have to do, go to this knob and say channel 20. Maybe I want it to be halftime, so go to CC Writer and say instead of 1 bar, let's have it be 2 bars. And if I want to make it even slower, I could go over to here and say make this be like a saw down. Now I can hear that there's a certain range where it's like doing cool stuff, and other places, like down here's where it's doing all the cool stuff. So let's go. Then you start playing with breakpoints. Let's add another control for the Y. For this kind of stuff, I like to just put weird stuff in there. Let's put delay on this. Make it be longer delay times, like quarter note duplicate, a dotted quarter note actually, and then a half note. Let's put a little distortion in the delay. Now I need a snare. Let's go back to random. Let's choose one of these snares, load it into a new Unify layer, so it's all set for if I want to do some. And then we need to go over here, say Unify MIDI box. Let's go down here. Let's choose Unify standard library. Go to the single drum parts again, and down here are up here. Actually, there's some snare on 2 and 4. Single. I'm going to half time it because we're doing like a half time. Now, for the snares to work, it needs to be higher pitched. So bring down the. And because it's Unify, I'm going to put in Infiltrator on this because this is kind of in that direction of vibe. And let's go like this. Let's go to like some of these. Let's see. Where do we get to the artists? Venus did a really cool, this like, was it Beat Freak? And then let's do this. Let's add something else from like Microtonic. It's a really, really cool drum machine. I love this thing. Let's load it into a Unify layer so we can change the groove if it's not right. Somewhere there's a halftime. Oh, where is the edit? Oh. Anybody know where the halftime is on Microtonic? But anyway, you get the idea what you can do, right? I don't see fill rate swing. Anyway, so you get the idea. Let's do it this way because I know I have access to controls I know inside of Unify. So let's call this a Unify groove. Maybe from one of the other libraries. Let's see here. Well, actually, you know what? I got to be careful because now I don't want to take this outside to where it can't be used as a unified library patch. And so I'd love to include Infiltrator, but that means you'd have to have Infiltrator to work it. So let's do this. Let's build our own effect thing doing something cool. So let's say Omega Delay. And I'm actually going to do it this way. I'm going to make it into an auxiliary bus. So let's go like this. Get rid of that. I copied it so I can say new empty auxiliary effect. Let's add Omega Delay. And then I can hold down Shift and click this to get the center back. And let's see here. I want to go to distortion, maybe some noise box to get it to be a nice snappy little thing. Okay, so I gotta go 100% here, no dry. Okay, so I filtered, resonated it. Let's add a little reverb. And I'm going to go over here and add a high pass filter before the reverb. Let's see. I can add a little bit of dry back in. And let's go to the standard library, add something like Redhead into a new Unify layer. And let's go over here and halftime it, which we have a nice control right here to easily do that. I'm going to put a ton of reverb on this, and then I want to do a little pump house, little pumping thing here. So let's go like this, no, like this, and this. There we go. And then I'm going to go back to the, where is it? Unified random. Inside of Toxic Monster, I really like that sub bass patch I did. So I'm going to load that into a new Unify layer. No is the groove, Liquid Trust. And then I can get rid of all of these parts except for the kick. Now, if I don't want the snare to change pitch, instead of transpose like this, just set to play only. Find the note. So I'm using MIDI boxes and doing all sorts of fun things. Now, this is also, I don't want this to transpose either. So inside of MIDI box, we have this little checkbox right here that does a unique thing only with its relationship with Guru Sampler. If you use MIDI box, and then after it you have Guru Sampler, when you play notes, it changes the transpose setting automatically. This is how we get things to be pitched and transposed with MIDI effects. But I can also pick a tune. Maybe I like that pitch. Just go over here and turn this off now. And now anywhere I play on the keyboard, it stays at that pitch, which is a little bit more than what I want because I have the bass and other things transposing. I don't want that element. Let's go over here to BPM perk. And let's have a, let's see, eighth note shakers might be what we want. So we say, load this into a Unify layer. Make a save. Good point. Check my levels. A little hot. Let's bring it down. So. So these three parts are random. And then these three parts are Unify. Oh, wait, no. That's snare. I'm wrong. So these three parts are random. And then these. Oh, wait, that's, oh, sorry. There's only two parts. So this is all random, 4 parts. Maybe we want the snare to vary a little bit. Let me save this before we go any further, because that's a good point. So this is going to be a Z BPM drum. I'm calling it, what is what? What is what? This is drum. Wacky drum programming fun. October, what is this? 21st. Live stream. Save as. Oh. I don't want it to be saved there. Patches random. Thank you. Yes, we want it to be saved there. So this will save it. It's going to now be inside of the library so that beat surfing random at the top. We've got liquid crust. Liquid crust. Variation. So, fun stuff. Try playing my way. I did it my way. Didgeridoo. Speed up control right of play icon towards bottom left. Okay, let's add microtonic. I love microtonic just for fun. We unified microtonic. So all of these drum grooves, there's 633 drum grooves are available as Unify presets. So you can just choose one. And it's the coolest drum machine. I mean, it's, where is it? So where is it, Mark? Speed control right of the play icon. Is that this? Oh, okay. I thought it had to be right in front of me, but they don't say halftime. What they do is they say that it's got the rate clock of 16th notes. Half of that would be 8th notes. For those of you that don't know about microtonic, let me just blow your minds for a second with what they've done here. Sonic Charge is just, it's these two brothers, and I love these guys. I've never met them. I want to meet them at some point. But they have a number of products. Synplant 2 is the new one that they just brought out that we showed last week. That's really, really cool. But microtonic is just, there's nothing like this on the planet. Especially when you get to the fact that it has the microtonic Pattertarium. Let's see, open this up in a new window. This is this online, let's see, make sure you guys can hear this. It's very loud. If you like this, you click download and you can save. Wow. You can save this patch and you can go cycling to other patches, and everyone is randomly created, random sounds. Each time you click this, it's randomly making patterns and sounds. And you can then just hit download to download the preset. And let's find one more. Whoa. Hit download. Wow, 2. Okay. So we now have 2 microtonic presets. And we can then go, let's see. Did I lose you guys? No. Then you can go over here to microtonic and say microtonic, open preset, and then you can drag in wow. There it is. And it will program the sounds. Right here you can see what it was used to make the sounds. And if you turn off the sequencer, you can now play these sounds. If you turn them on, let's go halftime. Trying to find what's doing the long splash. Here. There it is. So we can turn it back on. Now that I know where it is, I can go over here to the envelopes and to release. And let's go to the second, let's say duplicate, this guy, and open this up. Say microtonic. Open preset. Let's go wow 2. And let's put that to halftime. So I'm using these patterns that I got off from a random website that they've created to load into their plugin that's now playing inside of Unify. Well, Atlas 2 and Microtonic are like apples and oranges. There's no comparison between them. Atlas is playing and organizing your samples. Microtonic is synthesis. There's no samples. None of the sounds you're hearing from Microtonic are samples. These are synth sounds. And you can go in and change them up. It's a drum machine. So don't even put them in the same sentence. They're two different things. I mean, if you like Atlas better, that's cool. You know, but this is a really cool resource, and because of 633 unified patches, you can create all sorts of really cool grooves just as quickly as just going, you know, normal, choose a groove. And go Unify layer. I'm now layering 4 of that plugin inside of Unify. Then go over here to your master output, go to dynamics. I'll show you, this is the one ring to rule them all trick. This is using a pump house on the master effect output. You can do some crazy things if you shape this in a certain way, like this. You can shape the timing of everything in crazy ways. And then bring down the depth. So by using a pump house, you can like take, I just want this element of this groove to be there. So there's all sorts of fun ways to do things with the different tools inside of Unify to work with. Anyway, so we're at our time limit. Atlas could, yeah, I mean, the organizing of your samples is important. And I love Atlas for that. And I've used it for, I mean, I have so many drum samples from so many different sources and so forth that it's really, really useful for that. But those tools, I wish I wrote more music. I really do. But my job is what I do. And so I write some music and so forth, but I don't get to use all these tools that I discovered in the same way I would if I was like working full-time on films and stuff like that. But I'm blessed with what I get to do, so there is no complaining coming from me. But anyway, these tools are really fun. Check out Random if you want something like that. We've unified it, and I will be updating the library to include the new additional basses and things that I have added to this. Just such a unique, cool sound. You know? Just awesome stuff. So, how much is Random? Is $39. It's got like $119 retail, I believe. Again, it's vst.beatsurfing.com. So it's a mouthful of a website to get to. And there's Random. So they have, I think there's a demo version you can try out. Don't care. They have a shirt, which apparently goes through some sort of a random coloring process if you want to order it. But it's $39 instead of $119. I think that's what it's supposed to be. And so, yeah, it's a pretty much no-brainer if you want out of the box, unusual sounds and stuff like that, right? So I highly recommend it. I like it. I hope they can fix a few things so that right now, if I call up a patch and I open Random, it doesn't have the name of the patch up here anymore. The settings are there. So if you hit the preset browser and you go to Supermatter and you go to number 29, it sounds the same, but they don't call up with recalling the name of the patch. There's just a few little bugs like that. And they really have to get the automation. This has to go inside of Logic. If you set it to latch and you do this, it's supposed to play back. Right now, it doesn't play back. So you can't do you want to do all this weird stuff and just have it be automated and done. And you can't do that and automate it right now. So hopefully they will fix those things, but just for the sound, what it does and stuff, it's really great. Is it VST3 only? Good question. So many companies are VST3 only these days. Let me see if I go to my VST2 folder. Do I have... Oh, I was going to show you one more plugin. No, there is a VST2 of it. So they got a license. They've been around long enough to have their VST2 license still. There's one more plugin to show you guys that I forgot to show you. We're not unifying it because it's very basic. It's a single patch. Christian Henson, he is back with a new company, a new direction. He has a company called the Crow Hill Company. And so they have Vault Beta available, and it's at $1,000. It's a nice at $1,000 piano. It has some cool things. It has a reverse parameter on it, which you can use to get like a reverse delay. So you turn this up and now, Christian's sampling techniques, he likes to have a lot of air at the beginning of the samples. So this offset is a sample offset. If you have it offset all the way, it plays very late. Don't feel like you're playing an instrument at all. You're playing like a recording because there's this delay. So this offset, unfortunately, there's nothing telling you where this offset would be at, where it should be at like 0. You know, I learned the old school. You zoom into the waveform, you see where the sample starts up from nothing to something, and that's where the sample start is. And there's no way to know with this when you're cutting into the meat of the sample start. I don't know if 100% means it's now at the sample start or it's into the samples. I don't know, but it plays much nicer. There's smash for type compression, hair, echo, and reverb. And I believe if you click here in the future, maybe there will be more presets. We don't know. It's still a mystery. It's in beta. So they've released this very early for us to play with. This is available again from the crowhillcompany.com. You would sign up here and log in and all that kind of stuff, and you can get this plugin to work with. And, you know, you can never have enough pianos. Unfortunately for this one, I'm a little surprised they would release something like this because it doesn't have much. You play soft, play hard, it's the same. There's very little dynamics to it. I believe if you get to the real-time controls, by the way, if you ever want to like snoop and know what current parameters, I should show you one thing. There's one thing in OBX, but they do have controls here for reverse, offset, expression, volume, but they don't have a velocity control. So they released the piano, which has no velocity control. And so when you play it, it's just the same velocity all the time. So I don't know. I'm not sure why they would release something in such a state, but they did. So that's what's available. It's their choice. They did it this way. I wanted to point out one more thing because I was actually snooping inside of the OBX Unified because I did the knob assignment. Let's play with this. So there's 32 macro knobs set up to this for the cutoff. You can reprogram everything. If you go here to the kit. I give you access over the oscillator 2 volume and noise volume. On the 4th page, or is it the 3rd page? 3rd page. There's macro 1, 2, 3, 4. When I was looking through the modulation list of everything available, if you click either right here at the little plus to add, or you can click on this little dot and say replace if you want to replace a macro assignment. Go to Instrument to OBX, and here's all of the hooks the company puts into their plugins. And you can see what they've added and given you access to that you can change and assign to a knob. And if you look down here, when we get to the macros, there's macro 1, 2, 3, 4. And above this, it says macro 1 velocity, macro 1 aftertouch, macro 2 velocity, macro 2 after 3, 4. So I didn't do aftertouch, but I did velocity. So if one of these chorus, right? Turn up macro velocity, and now it's changing that chorus effect by velocity. So I gave you the velocity controls as well as the macro assignment. Reverb and delay, if you want that to be on velocity. It's there for you to play with, so it's really fun. Other things inside of the macro knobs, the OB reverb and delay, you have access to those as well as Unify. Amp velocity, although be aware this is an add, so as we get much louder because it's a velocity that's adding to what's already starting there. Vintage, so if you want to make it goes out of tune a little bit, little invariable, the envelopes versus perfect. Global OB volume, so if you do amp velocity, you will want to bring down the volume a little bit. So you have access to 32 parameters that let you pretty much get to the page 1. Be aware inside of the OBX, there is this bonus X ADSR and X LFO, which I didn't set up hooks to those things. It's a little confusing how they're assigned and so forth, so it wasn't very clear how to make those available. But it's still pretty cool to have access to all these controls for this unified library. So that is available if you have the OBX, and it's really nice. Okay, so let's do our shout outs. Shout out from the end of the live stream. Shout out from Portland, Oregon. And I didn't spell Portland right. There we go. And there's Ivar in Norway. Right on, brother. Camille Island. Mind blown. Good. I just was feeling like there's a lot of there's so much to Unify. I mean, I can do a live stream for years and I still show you guys new things all the time because, you know, I find new tricks with what I can do with this software myself, which is really fun. Shout out from Colorado, Wales, Cologne, Breakbrand, good to see you. Amsterdam, good to see you, Misha in Amsterdam. Thanks, guys. Thank you, guys. Shout out from Germany, from Daniela. Okay, cool. Shout out from No Place Amazing. I feel that way with Portland sometimes, so I hear you. Hey, well, thank you for joining us. I hope this is inspiring. Have a great week. Be creative, be positive, and we will see you next week. Okay? Thanks to everybody. Again, if you have any questions with our products, Unify support at pluginguru.com. We are here for you. Okay? Take care. Have a great one. And let's go over here. I'll say bye-bye.